Hey Thor,
Yeah,
I
I'm here.
I'm ready. You ready?
Yeah. I just I bought a car here in Playa from a couple of Russian guys, and we had to. They don't speak good English, so it was a little complicated when we were doing the transaction inside the bank, and it took a lot longer than I thought it would.
That does sound a little more complicated, and no Russian translators in the bank. So there you go.
Nope.
That's
All
funny.
right, so let's just jump right into it. I see we have NET to start with.
Okay.
Let
NET?
me bring that up. ANET
ANET.
and Arista Networks. It's starting to look interesting. Uh, I'm actually not sure what to make of it right yet.
I'm on monthly right now. Let me flip into weekly. I don't really have an opinion on monthly. Weekly looks
Yeah, I'm looking at the
weekly
daily.
looks
I'll switch
short
up
to
to
me.
too.
Weekly looks short to me. To
Yeah, weekly looks short,
like 171.
and monthly looks weak. Monthly looks weak. Weekly looks short. Yeah, I'd probably short this if it got under like 180.
I just dropped a line at 180.71.
Oh, then we're right there together on that. I'd say it's a short under 180.
And targets 170.98, 162.28.
Uh,
And
I think it was.
that'll be
I
the
think it was.
hard bounce, the 162 or 161.
Yeah, I could see it. I could see it getting to maybe slowing down around 170. But then all the
I
way to
still like the
162.
162 on the daily. So yeah, I dropped that in the weekly, but I like it on the daily for yeah. So that's and it wouldn't be a hard short. So looking at profiles, we had a short covering. We've got 2 months, 3 months short covering profiles. So all this buying is up near the top of value area high. Let me make my chart taller so
Not very often are you and I hitting the exact same numbers, but we're close on all of
within
them.
the dollar. Yeah. Well, we're close usually, but not quite that close. I'm
Right.
gonna take off. So what I was referring to, if you're watching my stream, is the red line here. The blue area is the value area, and then the red line is the volume point of control. So this month, it's a short covering profile, even though that we're selling off, which is pretty fascinating. Looks like last month was a balanced profile. Month before that was short covering because the red line is closer to the top of the two blue lines. And what I posted earlier in market talk about short covering is at some point it's going to like run out. And then who else is putting together a long position here? For me on the daily, I wouldn't be looking at starting to build a long position until we got into the low volume area, like 148, somewhere in there. And I'm going to put a dash line so that we have the differentiation. Something on the daily.
I sure moved up a lot, pretty good for a long time.
Yeah, it definitely did. See if
Maybe
there's
it is time for correction. Who knows?
anything else in here that's interesting. Okay, I'm going to flip back out. I'll post the weekly chart.
When I look at a chart, the first thing I think of is does it look short or does it look like anything to me? And sometimes they don't look like anything and I just move on. And then the second thing I look at is it a short or a long? And then I decide what direction it's gonna go, and then I start picking my spots on where, like what we just did with ANET. But it's certainly not a long. I definitely look short for sure. We
Okay.
done with this one?
Yep,
Cedar, we're
just
gonna
posted, just
go
posted.
to, DUOL.
You got it. Flipping back out to monthly. So I think, Thor, you start on weekly. I start on monthly. Is that right?
Should I start on daily?
Okay. So you go the opposite. Yeah, I go biggest time frame and then zoom in.
Duolingo. Wow,
Yeah.
it's interesting.
All right. I'm out on weekly now. So I'll let you go first.
I'm gonna- Yeah, I'm gonna switch out to weekly. Had a pretty good run in this last month. It's gone from 125 to 167 in 4 weeks.
Yeah, pretty wild.
Hmm. For me, looking at it, I mean, I don't know that I would call it I mean, it would definitely have to get above one. I would say it'd have to stay above 169, and even because it's a round number, say 170, to see it move up more. But the fact that it's ran like it did, I'm thinking it's got to pull back. I wouldn't be looking at this for a long. I think it might, if it's going to do anything, it's going to pull back to about 155, 56. If it's going to, if you were going to try and get a bounce on it, I mean, if it's something you really believe in, it's a stock you really like, I wouldn't buy it here. I'd buy it if it held 170. And if I wanted to catch it on a bounce, I start in on it at about 156. And then pay real close attention to it there and put in your stop losses.
All right, just finishing up dropping my lines in. So on the weekly, we actually have a decent amount of volume put in right here, right at the 165 level. However, I'm off on that just a little bit. Catch that volume node. My number comes in at 159.97 and then 155.33. So now that I've done that with the volume profile, I'll stretch it out. Below that, I have a range from 148 to 155. Hold on, let me make sure I have this. 148.03 to 149.5. So I would be looking for, as far as trading this, I don't think I would trade it. That's my first opinion. If I had to trade it, then I would be looking probably in the like 145 range, and preferably I'd like to pick it up in like 141.5. I don't see this as something that's probably going to hold. Very likely we're coming into the low volume area at 128. I mean, just looking at how much this thing moves. If we don't fill in the volume at 128, we're headed to 123. And there's a super low volume area at 114.66 that we probably would go back in and fill. We just have not spent hardly any time trading in there. And the 2 times that we traded it, we ran straight through it on the weekly with no real even back tests into the range. We came close to it when we were underneath it and above it. So I think there's some cleanup to do in the profile down there. So I guess I wouldn't trade it even if I had to trade it. I just say, nope, sorry, I'm out. I can't choose either direction. It could continue to run. I guess if it continued to run, you'd have, I'm going to go look at all this stuff from when it IPO'd, I guess.
Yeah, for me, looking at it, I mean, I wouldn't, it's not something that I'd want to trade. I don't like trading stocks when they kind of ran this high. But if it was a stock that I'm, continually buying in, like adding to, and right now I'd pause buying on it. And I start in at 155 and add more at 149. And I would probably put stop losses under, somewhere under 145.
Let me look at it on daily. Now that I got my high time frame levels up. So daily tells me right away we probably have a near-term top rejection at 168.53, just because of that high from back June 6th. Oh, look, it's my birthday. It's a birthday rejection. Okay. Viable potential at that 155 that we talked about originally. I just couldn't, I don't think I could convince myself that there was any, it's a coin flip to me here. It's a gamble. So if you enter a position, at least for me, it would be a super small, like 0.5% position, super speculative.
I'd like the stock if I was already in it. I can tell you that.
Oh yeah, in it at like 110, you're like, I'll give it a little room and see what it does. It does have some overhead targets as far as where it traded after the IPO of 184.75. It's a very small amount of volume. Looking at the volume profile, I took it off because once I mark my levels there, it's distracting when you zoom in with that visible range volume profile because it does change. So I mark the levels with, all the data of the time that we have traded in these ranges. So 184.75 and 202.79 definitely have the volume that's above us. So we could just hang out here, consolidate a little bit and head back up there, but I just don't, I don't have the feels for it as either way.
Yep.
Okay, let me.
All right, so we have Disney next, DIS.
Oh, I haven't looked at Disney a little bit. Let's see.
I always like looking at that one. What happened today? I guess the market happened today.
All right. All right.
I'll go back out to a weekly. I'm not even looking at the daily.
I put DIZ. Oh my goodness. It might be my lunchtime. Diz. Oh, yeah. Well,
I tell you, I love Disney. And I would seriously think about trying to buy a bounce on this right in here. And I would set the stops at 50, somewhere underneath the 52-week low.
So which is the 79.10, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is
Yeah.
really good risk reward stock because at some point it's gonna improve because this isn't a crap stock.
Right.
It's like buying Coca-Cola or McDonald's or any of those. I mean, it's gonna be good. It's just a matter of when. So I would actually buy here and set stops like Cedar just mentioned under. I'd give it some room, but probably I don't know, under 78 Cedar.
Stops under 78?
Yeah.
Well, on the time frame, I would look at candle closes probably on the monthly, just where we are seasonality wise, because we could see a little bit more downside, but we could also just have this be the bounce. I mean, scrolling out to look at like 2020, we're testing the 2020 lows. I mean, so there is the chances of it not bouncing here are very, very small. We are outside of I put a shaded range in one of these that I did that runs from 86 to 120, which is a beautiful trading range. So ideally it makes it back up there. The fact that we're down here is just reflective of, some of the shenanigans that they've played lately, just trying to change opinions, I guess. I'm not sure exactly what they have definitely lost some public favor. However, Disney is not just their theme parks. They are a very large product that is it's a really great company to own. So if you're looking for a long-term, Disney is probably one of your ones. If you don't have in your portfolio, you should consider adding here. Now, as far as stopping on this, if we lose on the monthly, if we lose the 79.10, I would have to see the next month, that first week in the next month, recapture that level pretty swiftly. So that would be into October. So if we lose it in September, into October, or I would just cut it pretty tight underneath that because of that 2020 low. I mean, think about the implications of us being down where 2020 was when there was absolutely no travel and everybody was panicking. It's a little scary down here, even though I really like the company. I personally have it in my long-term portfolio, added it for my kids more recently, and that will be how I manage that position in their portfolio and mine as well. That if we don't hold here, I will be cutting it without a quick bounce first week of October.
Yeah, I mean, you never know, even these rock solid companies, you'd be surprised where it can get to. I mean, look at, NVDA. Whoever thought it would get down to $120?
Right?
I mean, almost impossible, but it did. But then again, you saw how fast it recovered in 1 year or year and a half. It went from, I know why, I mean, I know this for a fact because I was on it. So it went from somewhere around 120 all the way to 500 in a matter of what, 18 months?
Yep.
So Disney is quite capable of going lower. It's just that, you look at your risk reward, and right here's a good time to risk for the reward on Disney. Just be ready to cut it and be wrong, because worst thing you can do is think you weren't wrong.
All right, I'm just typing this stuff in.
I might watch this again, and I might pick some up.
All right, next one is IWM. Oh, that thing has been in consolidation for so long. Oh boy. All right, this will be fun.
IWM. This one. For me, there's nothing to look at.
I'm out of my
It
ES.
looks-
I'm out of my ES long at 4475.
Yeah, I don't like this one. I would, it looks weak, but so is the overall market. To me, I don't know. I wouldn't even, did you notice this? It's making lower highs here from back a year ago.
Yeah,
On the weekly?
it's a mess on weekly. I have been waiting for this thing to break out for like 18 months or do something, like some direction somewhere, and it just, or I guess maybe 15 months. It's a absolute disaster.
Yeah, I mean,
of a chart.
from back in March of 2022, it's gotten,
Okay, it is 18 months. It feels like an eternity.
yeah, and it's making lower highs, but it is making higher lows as well, though.
I'm calling this
Now
one
it is.
consolidative. It's just ugly in the middle.
Yeah, I don't like it.
So I'll pull up my volume profile. So we have volume point of control near term 173.37. We have some volume nodes at 185. And really I was talking with Eva about this last week. This is the greatest stock to go back if you want to learn how to trade chop and backtest some concepts looking at it. So I'm going to draw a rectangle in here just as far as a box goes and say it's worth looking at this rectangle. Yeah, snug it in a little bit more as far as like back testing. So, we know that it's consolidating. So that's historical charting. So not super great as far as, like you don't, whoops, I have to undo that. You don't know when it's happening that it's consolidating. Like I said, I've been waiting for it to break out forever, but you can get some ideas of what that looks like in action. So you can test some of your theories, some of your trading ideas against what it is. So I'll post that. I'm putting the daily chart in. But until it breaks one direction or the other, there's just nothing above 200 or below 170, which a 30-point range, I mean, that's a pretty good trading range.
But if you're waiting for it, you're gonna end up falling asleep against a tree and wake up with a long beard.
Well, that's true. You don't wait for it. You if you want to trade it, you learn to trade a range, which if you're a breakout trader, you just go find something else that's breaking out.
All right, we have enough time for a few more here, and we've got somebody to put in WBA. WBA. Walgreens boots.
All right, let's peek.
It looked like it was going to try and do something, and the market is holding it back.
Yeah, I charted this for somebody a couple of these back, I think when you were out or when you had to leave. The level that I gave was the 21, let's get my cursor right over 2168, which is right where we tapped down into this month. We do have a low volume area underneath us, 1886. I wouldn't be surprised for us to go down in there and clean that up a little bit more, which takes us below 2010 levels. The problem with Walgreens right now is that they're getting, I mean, the way that they have changed the laws is somebody can walk in and walk out with $1,000 or less than $1,000 worth of goods or something close to that level, and there's no real repercussions. They just let them go. They just write it off on their insurance. They're like, okay, good, bye. And they're closing retail stores for that reason, which I don't blame them at all, because I would much rather than go deal with the homeless guy out in front that they're trying to scare away with the like super loud orchestra music, which is our local Walgreens that's 2 miles from my house. I would rather just order everything online and get my prescriptions from Costco Pharmacy. So it's definitely not in a great place until they, I don't know. And they're, I mean, the city's like charging them security fees to go like patrol the area. And I'm like, that's your job as the police force, right? Yeah, but they're attracting more problems. And so it's been an interesting thing in our community to see that they're just going to start closing everything down is what's going to happen.
I do like it a little bit though. I would actually, if this thing could hold above 2250, get to 2250 and for sure hold, it is breaking a downtrend, and there was volume coming in recently. There was also volume on the sell too. I'd want to see some volume coming in on the buy side and get above 2250 and hold. I actually like this. But as Cedar said, they do have their problems. So I would actually buy commons, and I would set stops under 20.
All right, next one is
So
Billy.
it's really not a lot of risk, not a lot of risk for the reward. I mean, if you get in at
That's true.
2250, as long as it holds, and you put a stop at, even under 21, you're not going to lose that much if it ends up going that way.
Yep, very tight stop underneath. I'll go with that. I can't do it myself, but I can see definitely what you're saying. Next one is Billy, BILI. This is one of those COVID stocks or COVID pop stocks that I literally just lop the top off of. I pretend like above 30 doesn't even exist. Literally don't even think about it. I'll let you start with this one though.
All right, what's the next one we have, Cedar?
Oh, apparently I'm muted. Okay, well, I've been talking to myself just a little bit over here. It's on the recording. That's the good news. So I can see,
I thought you checked out.
no, I can see where your what your thoughts are as far as that tight stop underneath on Walgreens. I can't do it, but I definitely can see where that appeal is for sure. Next one is Billy, and this is one of those
Billy.
COVID popping stops. So BILI, that I literally just cut the top off of and pretend like nothing above 30 even ever existed. So as far as I'm concerned, it's been consolidating since it opened with a couple little pops that were exaggerated obviously by COVID, but are not interesting to me at all. And I will let you take it from a levels perspective, give your feedback, and then I'll be popping my levels in while you're doing that.
I don't like it. Not at all. It's just, it looks sick. It looks like it's going to continue to be sick until it finds a real bottom.
We're just grinding sideways across the volume point of control from the entire time since it IPO'd in 2018. And that's just not a happy place to be on anything. I think a lot of people love these
By the
stocks
way,
because they did so well in COVID.
I was just going to say,
just
when we,
get rid of the chart.
sorry, sweetheart.
It's okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm getting a delay here. I can actually talk and hear me after.
Oh no.
When you hear us kind of pause while we're looking at these, it's because we're looking at them mostly for the first time. I'm giving you my opinion, and Cedar's giving you her opinion as we are looking at them. So sometimes it's not that we're indecisive, it's just that we're looking at it for the first time. I don't like it. I mean, I mean, if there's a possibility it finds a bottom right in here, I mean, I could see it possibly finding a bottom in here, but it still looks weak. So like I said, find a support right in here somewhere and then start looking at it. That's all I got for this one. Cedar, you might be muted again.
Nope, I'm here. I'm just typing in notes. I'm trying to do just as quick little excerpts so that it's in there just as far as the record goes. Okay. Uh-oh. And I'm in the wrong. No, I'm not. I'm good. Just did not get
Let's
the
do
chart.
one more and then you gotta run. We got SC. I like SC. Well,
SC.
I did like it. Let me see what it looks like now.
C Limited. Oh, that little, oh, it fell. Look at that. Okay.
I used to like it.
I used to like it, yeah, before that. That's pretty much what was it AAP? One of them did the same thing.
What's that song? She used to love me, but it's all over now.
Yeah, we're probably headed for 2332. I like that number, 2332. I'm on the weekly, and that's the next leg down. If we do have a short covering bounce, boy, that's a big range. Look at that. This is one of those that I talked about cutting the top off of too. But we recently, what is this, in the last like month and a half, 2 months, went from 63 to 23. So I guess if we bounce here, we've got a 45 potential bounce.
Wait a minute. Which one are you looking at?
SE, C Limited.
Yeah. How come I don't see, what price do you see current?
Current right now is 38.
Okay.
38.43. Yeah.
I see a possible support here at just above 37. So it has a possibility, but if it fails there, it's at 35, and then you're probably going to see Cedar's mentioned levels.
Okay, so for me, I guess if I took something here as a speculative position, I would have to I would have a stop underneath like 34.31. The volume point of control is sitting down at 23.32. But we could have some pretty decent violent short covering rips up into that 45 range, and then really the next big range above there is 54. But this goes in the category of penny stocks for me at this point. I can't trade it.
Yeah, I'll post the reason why I see some support here. It's pretty simple.
I need to look at the daily too. Oh, the daily.
Yeah, I'll just post it and you only have to look at this is a daily. It's bounced around there pretty good. So, I mean, I'd give it a chance there. And you'd also have to have a higher low as well. So that's important that it would hold right there.
Yeah, this is a hands off here, even more so for me on daily. I just can't touch it.
Yeah, it doesn't look promising yet. I mean, it looks like something could happen, but not yet.
Yeah. So,
And that's about it, Cedar. I
all
think
right.
we're done.
Sounds good. We missed one more, so I'm gonna hang out and do the FL
You know
quickly
what?
if you're not able
Let's
to.
do it.
Okay.
Let's do it. Which one is it?
FL.
Fuck, man, I made bank on this one time. Boy, this one looks like the one we just looked at.
Yeah. Well, Foot Locker goes in that retail category for me of I buy everything online. Literally, if I find something I love, I just buy it online because I know I can buy it online and it'll be delivered to my house instead of having to manage the crowds. And
You're
plus, then I
not
don't have to go
you're
anywhere.
not your typical female shopper, are you?
I am not in
More
most
you
ways.
shop like a guy.
Yeah.
You shop like a guy.
Mhm. Yep. I'm really not. It's just pretend that I'm a woman, something like that. I literally, I don't shop for anything. Like, even if it's car shopping, husband loves to go car shopping, wander around. I'm like, I already know what I want. If I go to the dealership, we're buying it. And if they don't have it, I'll order it. Good, done. I don't like messing around. I'm not a window shopper.
I'm typical guy. I walk in a store right to the aisle. I don't look at anything. If I don't know where the aisle is, I ask where the shoes are, walk straight there, look, pick up what I want and walk out. But back to Foot Locker, that's what we're talking about. It needs to get above 1850 and hold, and it has a possibility, but right now it's still kind of weak.
The only line that I dropped on this chart that's a horizontal line is 1717. And I put the downtrend. So I'm looking to see this kind of resolve itself. Let's see. Volume point of control on our near term is 1210. Whoa, that's ugly. So I'll drop that in there too. If we bounce from here, we do have our next decent volume level at 2960, which is a fair level from here. I just don't see I would have to see, I guess, some impetus as far as, economy's turning around, people are starting to spend more money, so they're out doing more retail shopping. Maybe. And then I'd start looking at the chart again, but I'd probably just set myself a level and see what the interaction is into the end of September in relation to that 1717 psych level. I'm going to look at the weekly just because I haven't been there yet, but I think it's exactly the same answers. Yeah, it's exactly the same. So I'm going to post the monthly chart because nothing changed.
If you guys want to look at something and you can see the fall coming on this stock. If you go back and box in fact, I'll do it. If you look at this spot right in here, what happened here? You can see this coming. Hell, I can't copy. Hold on a minute. You can use this, what I'm going to post here next. You can use this to kind of train your eyes. as far as what a stalk looks like before it really fails. You could see it a mile away.
Oh yeah, that consolidation, that's over, is that a 3-day period?
Yeah, I mean, if you could see it, it's in a slow death.
Well, and it does it, if you zoom out a little bit, it's done it a couple times. So it did it back December 13th, 2021 through February 22nd, 2022, and then death on February
Yeah.
22nd. And then
It's just,
basically
you
the same
can
thing.
see it. You can see it. You can just look at that box right there and you can see it happening. It just little by little got weaker and weaker and weaker, and then boom, it failed.
All right. I just threw well, maybe I threw a monthly and a weekly in there, zoomed in a little bit more.
Okay, I'm finished, guys. I got to go pick up my daughter. So we got the last one in. That's great.
Yep, beautiful.
I'm going to come back to this and kind of make a little note on it. I just can't do it yet.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, it was good
As
catching
far as
you,
what I was
even though we
talking
were a
about,
little
that
bit
box.
late. And I know, sometimes scheduling stuff, we try to be as consistent as we can with the times, but sometimes we do have family stuff going on and things happening. So as much as each of us can accommodate, we do. And we're glad you guys hung out with us for the time that we did.
Yeah, I apologize. This last week has been very difficult for me. I had something happen personally in my life, and there's a lot of things I couldn't make. And on top of that, I have a 4-year-old, and she has things that happen that I can't control, and I got to take care of. So I try to make sure this happens on 12 on every Tuesday, but every once in a while I get into a situation I can't get out of.
It is life, parenting,
Yep,
and life, something like that.
exactly.
Okay, well, we'll see you
All right,
next
Steven.
Tuesday.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.